From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Monday, October 2nd. Monday is going to have some clear daytime hours, lots of sunshine, and it's going to be warm. Highs in the mid-80s today, and not too much wind to help it feel a little better. We are going to get a little bit more moisture as the week progresses, and it won't get too sticky, though. Then at the end of the week, we are in for a big cool down. I'll keep you posted on all of that throughout the podcast in the coming days. 2 IMPD officers charged with shooting a black man sleeping in a parked car are due in court today. The hearings are for Carl Chandler and Alexander Gregory. They started at 8:30 this morning. Police say they attempted to wake up 24-year-old Anthony Macklin on the morning of New Year's Eve. 3 officers were called by Macklin's grandmother, who says she didn't recognize the parked rental car he was sleeping in her driveway. They approached the car and tapped on the window before the shooting. In the hours after, IMPD claimed Macklin moved his arms towards the officer. Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears says the grand jury's ruling to charge the 2 officers speaks for the community.
I think one of the nice things about a grand jury is evidence is actually presented, and grand jurors and people from the community are kind of voting up or down someone's conduct to determine whether or not charges are appropriate.
Both officers have been placed on administrative leave pending the internal affairs investigation. The officer's attorney calls the indictments an alarming trend of targeting police on duty. John Kotzman said in a statement, "The men and women of law enforcement are not only legitimately in fear of their personal safety in an increasingly violent community, but are too often also being placed in legal jeopardy for simply trying to do their jobs." And IMPD says murders are down nearly 12% compared to this time last year. The department released new data yesterday. As of Saturday, police report 137 murders this year compared to 155 in 2022. IMPD reports 11 murders in September, down from 17 in the same month last year. You can find out if any of the shootings happened in your neighborhood by using our Wish TV crime map. You can find it on wishtv.com in the Crime Watch page. A government shutdown was avoided this weekend, but now a new deadline looms next month. Indiana Representative Victoria Spartz voted no on the stopgap bill late Saturday night. Then on Sunday, she sat down with News 8's government reporter Garrett Berquist and laid out her demands for the next spending plan during All Indiana Politics.
What was it about this measure that flipped you from the yes column to the no column?
Well, the most important thing that this TR is missing, gives more money, actually more money than Nancy Pelosi gave to Biden, but doesn't have a plan to deal with our crushing debt. You know, the other plan did have debt commission, so at least next year, when we have debt still increase, we can have a serious conversation how we're going to save our country. That is a very important national security issue, but unfortunately, Republicans didn't have a backbone to put it forward.
Would that have been worth shutting down the government over, though?
Listen, I don't think Biden would shut down the government. I don't think it's unreasonable for us actually not to govern by crises, but leadership. This was very reasonable proposal. Let's get together, 2 parties. Let's have a conversation. It's bicameral, bipartisan plan, and actually have a plan. Spend a year communicating to the American people, you know, and not being afraid to challenge big machine with big money and big oligopolies that being pretty healthy while American people getting destroyed by the inflation. And I think that is a very serious crisis it's going to be faced in our country. And I don't think it's unreasonable for us to actually spend time governing, not politicking.
So now we've reset the clock. We've got until November 17th. What specifically are you going to be looking for in any spending plan that gets put forth between now and then?
As I said, my biggest priorities are going to be border security and debt commission. I think we need to secure our border. It's a huge national security crisis, but we also need to deal with that. People don't realize that this inflation is going to destroy middle class and low income people, and we'll have very, very wealthy people sitting close to Washington, D.C. machine, and everyone else equally poor. That's what really socialism is, and I think we're on a fast track to socialism if we don't get, stronger to start to pushing back on them. But there are very healthy pacts that they send into a lot of people, and I think these people my colleagues need to start to remember that they're only ones who lobby for the people. No one else is.
Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida this morning is saying that he will attempt to oust Kevin McCarthy as Speaker this week. Where do you stand on that? Would you be in support of that?
Listen, I'm open-minded. I'm not be very happy, when we celebrate that we gave more money than Nancy Pelosi, but not as much as Biden want. When we told him, give him a blank check till the end of the year and our debt and say, you can spend as much as you want. We didn't even put limitation. I think, Democrats are probably pretty happy, so I'm not sure if Democrats dislike Kevin McCarthy. They might not actually go with Matt Gaetz, but I'll be open-minded because I want to see some leadership from Kevin.
Again, that was Garrett Berquist reporting. You can watch All Indiana Politics every Sunday morning at 9:30, right after Weekend Daybreak on Wish TV. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy now faces a conservative revolt. He was forced to use Democratic votes to advance the bill to keep the government open. Now, new threats are coming in from Congressman Matt Gaetz. The Florida Republican says he intends to file a motion to vacate this week, which would force a vote on whether McCarthy will keep his job. Gaetz is not happy that McCarthy's working alongside Democrats to avoid a government shutdown. Gaetz is a member of the House Freedom Caucus, which demanded massive spending cuts far beyond a deal McCarthy made with President Biden earlier this year to avoid a debt default. Experts say such a measure would have died in the Democrat-controlled Senate and ensured a shutdown. The stopgap bill signed over the weekend is a temporary measure and only provides enough funding for 45 days while Congress looks for a more long-term solution. Gaetz wants McCarthy gone long before time runs out.
I do intend to file a motion to vacate against Speaker McCarthy this week. I think we need to rip off the Band-Aid. I think we need to move on with new leadership that can be trustworthy.
Bring it on. Let's get over with it, and let's start governing. If he's upset because he tried to push us in a shutdown, and I made sure government didn't shut down, then let's have that fight.
If Gaetz indeed files a motion to oust McCarthy, House leaders will have 2 days to schedule a vote on the issue. No speaker has ever been removed from office through a motion to vacate. Regulators will determine if an investigation is needed for AES Indiana's response efforts to outages during severe summer storms. The Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission is set to speak with the company. This comes after 2 local consumer advocacy groups asked to open an investigation. More than 81,000 people lost power, with some not getting it back up to 5 days after the June 29th storm. This morning's technical conference is at the PNC Center on West Washington Street at 9:30. Today, former President Trump says he'll make a rare voluntary trip to court in New York. The civil fraud trial against him starts today. The New York Attorney General accuses Trump of inflating his net worth in fraudulent financial statements. Prosecutors want the court to consider banning Trump's from doing business in New York for 5 years. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland says he would resign if President Joe Biden asked him to pursue former President Donald Trump. Garland made the comments during an interview on CBS's 60 Minutes yesterday. The Justice Department is at the center of indictments against Trump involving his effort to overturn the 2020 election and wrongly keeping classified documents. It's also looking into Hunter Biden's previous business ventures. Garland has spoken very little about the cases and reiterated yesterday that he won't get into specifics. A drastic search is underway for a missing 9-year-old girl who disappeared during a family camping trip in New York. Authorities think someone may have abducted her. More than 100 people searched for Charlotte Sena yesterday. Police say Sena was last seen riding a bike Saturday evening with friends in Moreau Lake State Park near Albany. They say she rode her bike around a loop twice before deciding to ride around again by herself. Sena's parents called 911 when she didn't come back after 15 minutes.
Leaving no stone, no branch, no table, no cabin unturned, untouched, unexamined in our search to find Charlotte.
State police are now asking anyone with information on Charlotte's whereabouts to contact them. A former federal prosecutor faces charges for a road rage stabbing in Florida. Police arrested Patrick Scruggs last week. According to the Florida Highway Patrol, Scruggs approached a driver involved in a 3-vehicle crash, smashed his side window, then stabbed him with a knife. He now faces a number of charges, including aggravated assault. People in Las Vegas are remembering those lost 6 years ago during a mass shooting at a country music festival. Officials held a remembrance ceremony in downtown Vegas yesterday for the 58 people killed in the October 1st, 2017 shooting. 2 more died in the months and years that followed. City officials say they're planning more activities this year to honor the victims and survivors of the attack. In Colts Watch, players say focusing on the little details will be key to a successful season after a 23-point comeback against the Rams ended with a frustrating overtime loss. The team entered the game with a division lead, looking to win at home for the first time since Week 6 of last season. Rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson returned after missing one game with a concussion. The offense started slow, trailing 23-0 in the third quarter. Richardson turned it on in the second half. He led the team with 3 touchdown drives to tie the game. LA won the overtime coin toss and then took the sudden death win within minutes. Richardson had this to say about what went wrong.
This league, the margin of error is so small, so tight, and those guys, that's a great team over there. They get paid, they get drafted to go out there and ball, and they were doing that. We just kind of, didn't click on certain plays whenever we were in that last 2-minute drive, and partially it was on me, just getting too excited, trying to, win the game. But, you learn from it, and hopefully we can get the next one.
The defense, led by safety Julian Blackman, held the Rams scoreless for the second half's final 22 minutes. Blackman says he's confident the team can get back on track.
There's no quit in our team, and we got a good team. We know that we just got to protect it and find ways to be on the other side of it, and come out with the wins, and we're close. And so it's just little things, just little details, and we can get back to the rudiments of things, and we'll be okay.
Fans share the same sentiment, praising the team for its performance despite the loss. News 8 spoke with several fans as they left Lucas Oil Stadium.
They're a really young team, and it's so fun to watch them because they keep scrapping and clawing, and they won't give up.
It was really disappointing, the finish. However, I really thought they showed a lot of resilience in coming back. I mean, they were down 23-0.
A quick look at the AFC South standings has the Colts still in first, despite all 4 teams being 2-2. The team will have a chance to build on that lead when it hosts the Titans Sunday at 1. And new this morning, a local expert is giving insight on the risk of injuries in youth sports. Chad Gabbard is the training manager at Ascension St. Vincent in Carmel. They provide athletic training care to local schools, emphasizing the importance of injury prevention. Gabbard pointed out that the growing concern of sports injuries in young athletes, with children specializing in a single sport at a young age, overuse injuries are on the rise. To lower your child's odds for a sports injury, Gabbard stressed the importance of diversifying sports.
You have kids that's specializing at such a young age, and they're doing something the same way at age 8, and you get a lot of overuse injuries that we never really saw before. Coaches want multi-sport athlete kids because their body gets trained in different movement patterns when they do different sports. We never want to hold a kid out of sports because we know that's what they love, but sometimes we have to do that and say, hey, if we do this, we're going to make you better.
Gabbard also recommends parents properly protect their children with best sporting gear. Proper equipment such as helmets, mouth guards, and padding can help prevent injury. He says it must be the right size and suitable for the sport, of course. Right now, the hospital provides athletic training services at Zionsville High School, where 3 athletic trainers are on site. Additionally, both middle schools have full-time athletic trainers. In Carmel, there are 3 athletic trainers at the high school and 1 at the middle school. Today, the Indianapolis Public Library is celebrating the freedom to read with John Green in honor of Banned Books Week. It's happening at the Central Library's Clues Auditorium tonight at 6. The Indiana author will be talking with Indiana State Senator Audrey Hunley about banned books and intellectual freedom. Green's young adult novel, Looking for Alaska, was listed as one of the most banned books of 2022. National Banned Books Week runs through Saturday. There are also plenty of events planned all this week long at the Kurt Vonnegut Museum in downtown Indianapolis. Also today, new hours go into effect at several BMV locations. Officials say the Indianapolis North, South, and West locations will be open Tuesday from 9 to 6:30, Wednesday through Friday 9 to 5, and Saturday 9 to noon. All other location changes can be found online. The BMV says the hour changes will allow it to provide services 6 days a week. And Wish TV is proud to be part of the Indiana Broadcasters Association Fall Career Fair today. Representatives from more than 100 TV and radio stations will be there to discuss open positions. It's happening at Gainbridge Fieldhouse from 2 to 5 this afternoon. If you're interested, go to wishtv.com and look in the As Seen on Wish TV section for this story and more information. And to business headlines, prenups are becoming more popular. Findings from a new Harris poll says millennials most likely to enter into one. Axios ties the trend to high divorce rates in the U.S. at 40% of marriages as a reason. The tendency for couples to get married later in life, when they have more established careers and more assets as well, also contributes overall to more couples sorting out finances before getting married. The number of reported ghosting incidents by employers has doubled in many industries compared to before the pandemic. It's according to Revelio Labs, a workforce intelligence firm. The issue has even prompted questions about the government's monthly JOLTS report, which tracks job vacancies in the U.S., which the Federal Reserve uses as evidence of the tight labor market. The United Pilots okayed a new record contract. They approved a $10.2 billion contract Friday, the most expensive ever for an airline labor agreement. It's according to Bloomberg, and we'll see up to a 40% bump in compensation over the next 4 years. Apple will issue a software update to fix an overheating issue with its new iPhone 15 Pro, reports the Wall Street Journal. Apple is blaming the problem on the setup process, an iOS bug, and third-party apps, including Instagram and Uber. Gaming apps, wireless charging, and streaming high-quality video all can cause the phone to heat up. As artificial intelligence's influence grows, so will its demand on America's power grid. Formula Monks, an AI technology consulting firm, told Yahoo Finance that energy consumption will dramatically increase on a global scale. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and like us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.